Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brian Donnelly. I'm an expert in distilled spirits with 9 years experience in the alcoholic beverage industry, and my goal is to educate consumers more about the alcoholic beverages they enjoy so they can make better shopping and drinking decisions. So what is the Mijenta brand? Well, the name Mijenta is a riff on mi gente, or my people in Spanish, la gente being the people. First of all, it's an additive-free tequila from the Los Altos region of Jalisco, and Los Altos is often translated or anglicized as the Highlands when talking about growing regions for agaves used for tequila. And second, it's the first tequila brand to receive a B Corp certification. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. And the goal of the brand is to bring people together. And I'm going to read their kind of mission statement. So Mijenta delivers a version of what tequila should be: complex, balanced, and gastronomic. Referencing some notes from the brand, I'm going to be reading a kind of long-form overview of the brand. Mijenta Tequila uses only the best ingredients, including 100% fully mature Blue Weber agave from the highlands of Jalisco, also known as Los Altos, and a very meticulous process to create an authentic, additive-free spirit that captures the unique terroir of the region. From the outset, we had a deep commitment to environmental sustainability and giving back to the local community. We're proud to be the first tequila producer to receive B Corp certification, which is a powerful validation of our desire to have a positive, lasting impact on the planet and our communities. We are also woman-led, from our co-founder and sustainability director, Alisa Som, to our maestra tequilera. Mijenta was awarded the 2023 prestigious Outstanding Spirits Producer and Agave Producer of the Year trophies by the International Wine and Spirits Competition. All right, there are 4 pillars that make up the Mijenta brand, and that's sustainable, community, artisanal, and authentic. And I'm going to talk through each of those individually. So, sustainable. Mijenta takes a holistic approach to sustainability, seeking a positive impact across the product's life cycle, including using eco-friendly packaging, supporting responsible agriculture, and working with like-minded partners. Mijenta is fully carbon neutral, including our products. Next is community. Mijenta works hand in hand with local businesses and partners with like-minded organizations to provide support to communities. Next is artisanal. Using only the best ingredients in a meticulous process, Mijenta is crafted with passion and precision while remaining rooted in traditional techniques. And lastly, authentic, a very dangerous world, especially within the agave category. Using fully mature Blue Weber agave, slowly cooked for many hours and fermented using special yeast, Mijenta is carefully distilled to preserve all of its rich flavors. Next up is the Cristalino. So you can see slightly different packaging with the Cristalino. To describe the Cristalino, I'm going to reference some notes from the brand. Mijenta's Cristalino begins with our Blanco tequila, which is aged for approximately 8 months in Symphony barrels composed of oak from the forests of Virginia, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, and Missouri. Unlike other Cristalinos, Mijenta's exhaustively tested proprietary filtered method uses vegan charcoal to remove the color while preserving the depth of flavors and aromas developed in the barrels. Achieving this effect requires carefully balancing the filtration process, including precisely controlling the contact time and the flow and the amount of charcoal. Mijenta's Cristalino possesses the richness of an añejo, drinks like a reposado, and is perfect for cocktails that require a clear spirit like the martini. As we observe it in the glass, it is crystal clear. On the nose, it presents complex notes of maple, caramel, coffee, coconut, toffee, fruity notes of citrus and honey, and of course cooked agave. On the palate, we experience a bouquet of flavors that is sweet and silky, with enduring notes of coconut, vanilla, maple, chocolate, coffee, and cooked agave. I got a brand new bottle here. Just like the others, got the glass topper. All right, so we already know this is a Cristalino. It's going to be crystal clear in the glass. And then on the nose, it's going to be complex notes of maple, caramel, coffee, coconut, toffee, fruity notes of citrus and honey, and of course, the cooked agave. I would say this has a much more muted nose than either the Blanco or the Reposado. I think I'm getting definitely a little bit of that coconut. Some flavors of citrus and honey, I would definitely say. The maple caramel coffee, I would say maybe that maple caramel, but the flavors aren't jumping out of the glass and they're not hitting you in waves one after another, but they may be very different on the palate. All right, the palate is described the exact same. Complex notes of maple, caramel, coffee, coconut, toffee, fruity notes of citrus and honey, and of course, cooked agave. So let's give it our first sip. Definitely a lot going on in the palate compared to the nose. I would say the palate does hit you with those kind of waves of flavor, just one after another, where you are getting that kind of maple caramel, and then there's some maybe coffee, coconut, toffee, and then maybe it transitions into those kind of fruit forward notes, citrus, honey, cooked agave. I would say this is extremely tasty. This is extremely tasty just on that first sip, and there is a lot more complexity on the palate than I was getting on the nose. And again, I don't pretend to be the world's best, taster when it comes to the aromas, but I'm excited to try this again. This was really tasty. Not boozy at all. I mean, this is super drinkable, super smooth, but not smooth in a way where it's, basic. It's just drinkable. There's good complexity to this. With most aged tequila, you're looking for some sort of balance between barrel flavors and agave flavors. And I know a lot of people love to hate on Cristalinos. They see them as a gimmicky thing. They see them as gimmicky. But I'm generally pro Cristalino. I think they have a very interesting place within the tequila segment, even if it is an unofficial place. And I think they're really fun for cocktails. So I think if you can get over the idea of removing the color that you spent so long to try to add to that particular spirit and just embrace it for what it is and just judge the flavors and the drinkability, then I think you can totally get behind Cristalinos. So now that I've tried this twice, I would say on the palate, the flavors much more closely match the flavors described by the brand than maybe what I got on the nose. And just to comment, the finish is a good finish on this. Like the Reposado, it's got a good long finish that hangs around and has a really nice positive finish. And the flavors aren't heavy. It finishes pretty clean and it doesn't hang on the palate, doesn't fatigue the palate. And, while it does have a long finish, it kind of leaves you ready for that next sip. So let's talk about pricing. All right. In my home market, the Cristalino retails somewhere between $82 and $88. So this is where I'm going to have to do some more fence riding. This product is delicious. Very tasty. Good complexity. A lot of positive flavors on there. Is it $82 to $88 tasty? And that is where it becomes purely subjective. I think if you have that kind of money to spend on tequila, the flavors that this product provides and the positive ethos that the brand represents in their production, especially from a sustainability component, I definitely think warrant that price. But that price isn't very inclusive, and there's plenty of other super drinkable, tasty Cristalino tequilas for a much lower price point. So this is where it becomes a bit subjective. If you can afford $82 to $88 on a Cristalino tequila, especially one that is youngest juice in the bottle makes this a Reposado Cristalino, then, I think it is worth it. But if you if you absolutely hate, if you absolutely can't imagine spending that kind of money on a Reposado Cristalino, there's plenty of other options, right? So, for this particular price point, I think it is very subjective. This product, no questions asked, is super drinkable, good complexity, very enjoyable. And I think that's what often gets lost in these particular tastings is this product enjoyable to drink? People talk about how complex it is, how long the finish is. This product is just straight up tasty and super drinkable, super enjoyable. But again, when you start getting in the $80 for a Reposado Cristalino, that's where you can be a bit more subjective and say like, okay, for customers with this level of disposable income, it definitely is worth it and you will not be disappointed. But for the customers that don't have that kind of disposable income, there's plenty of other delicious options available to you at much lower price points. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe even learned something. Please give this video a like and consider subscribing. If you'd like to be notified whenever I have new content on my website or this YouTube channel, please consider subscribing to my email newsletter. I'll leave a link below in the description. If you would like to support this channel further, please consider becoming a Patreon member or gift me a cocktail to the link below in the description. Thank you so much again for your support. If you don't care about the video component of these brand education and product tasting reviews, then please consider subscribing to my podcast. You can find it on Spotify, you can find it on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you consume your podcasts. Thank you so much for your support. Finally, if you have some feedback for the channel or some recommendations of content that you would like to see, please leave me a comment or shoot me an email. I read every single email personally, and I try my best to respond to all of them. So if you would like to have a more in-depth conversation, shoot me an email. If you have some recommendations for future videos or improvements to this channel, please leave me a comment below. Thank you so much again for watching, and as always, please drink responsibly.